how far are you ahead of where you were a year ago?
Well, thanks for giving me a compliment for younger coaches. I haven't heard that in a while. Uh,
I'll send you the bill later.
yeah, no, I think everybody understands the circumstances surrounding last summer and everything by now. And as I've always said, grateful we were able to field a team and with 24 faces and a new staff and trying to put it together in about 35 days or so. I thought we did a lot of good things and established a work ethic. We got better. That was part of the process. But moving forward, that was the restart year. You're kind of building from scratch. I don't know if that's ever happened before, where you lose so many players and come back the next year. And this year, we've had a full year to recruit. I think our coaching staff has done a great job identifying guys that want to be here for the right reasons. And we've we've gotten better in a lot of areas. Just on the short time that we've been on the ice, with restricted hours, and then we started full time on September 22nd, and we really like what we see so far. So to answer your question, we're way ahead of where we were last year. But in saying that, all teams will say that right now, or most teams will say that, and I think everybody's going to be better. Simply because of the rule change with the major junior kids that are now eligible, I think it increases the talent pool that you recruit from. But moving forward, we've obviously everybody understands we got a tough schedule, but I like that. I think it's going to prepare us accordingly. We're going to get thrown in the fire right off the hop, and it should prepare us entering into our own league play. And our whole thought process is about getting better every single day, getting our habits down, getting our systems in place, and then now the guys are at a point where they're chomping at a bit to play a real game. And like I said, we're traveling out to Boston this weekend against a really good program that was in the Elite Eight last year, and I think they've done a great job building a powerhouse. But I like the fact that we get to go on the road with this team. It's not as young as last year. We've got some older guys that give us some experience, so that should level out a little bit of the transition for the younger guys. And like I said, our guys are coming along and we're getting better by the week. And I really liked our last two or three practices. I think we're starting to see some semblance of how we need to play in order to have success.
The question that everybody will be asking for a while: no more pairwise.
Yep.
Explain how what's coming up is different from the pairwise.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion in Florida about that. It's called the MPI, I believe, and they think it's a more accurate measure of identifying the teams that deserve to be in the tournament. Obviously, you get the automatic bids for the playoff champions, but it's they think it's a better way. We had discussions on it, all the numbers, how they work. I don't the dials and all that. I've looked at it, and it seems like it's a fair way to get the right teams in the tournament at the right time. So it's just used as an indicator that usually by Christmas time you have a pretty good understanding where things stand out. And again, it's just they think it's a better way of getting the right teams in the NCAA tournament.
Talk a little bit about this schedule. How do you go about getting teams like UMass, Ohio State, Michigan State, these guys on your schedule? And you talked about how it's going to prepare you for down the line.
Yeah, we didn't do it strategically. The schedules were kind of mixed up a little bit when I got hired there, so we had to get games. We were without games, and you just got to communicate with other programs. Ideally, you'd like to get an exhibition game in, and we weren't able to do so for the next couple of years. It's just how it worked. And you reach out to a number of programs. These are the dates that are open. We need games, and what you want to try to do is create a balance. Have four games at home, four games on the road. And that's what we're able to do. And I actually I think it's good that you can play against different conferences. So we've got Hockey East, we've got Big Ten, and we've got the NCHC. So I think that's a good balance. Now, obviously, the goal is to do well, but again, for us, we're in the rebuild stage. If we play our best game, deserve to win, we'll win. But it's about the process of getting better every single weekend, and what better way to do it against great opponents?
What have you seen from some of the guys out of the portal, specifically with Galton Dempsey, that they were able to earn the respect of their teammates so quickly and be named captains earlier this week? Just how have those guys made an impact already without having played a game?
just how they handle themselves. I think the biggest attribute they bring, and we did this strategically. We needed to get older. We needed it. We couldn't have 24 new faces and be that young again. I think it sets back your growth and development as a program. So we had to sprinkle in with our 9 freshmen. We wanted to get older guys that had 2 or 3 years of college experience, and obviously. Galty had a great year last year. I think he was the 3rd leading scorer in the CCHA. We're fortunate enough to get him, but he leads by example on and off the ice. He's quiet, but he's a pure goal scorer. And one thing, obviously, we lacked last year was goal scoring, and he brings that. And you know what? The guys voted upon it, and we talked about it as a staff, and he does it. He tries to do everything the right way. He wants to be a pro. He wants to help us in the rebuild to push the program forward. And the same thing with Dempsey. He came in quiet, real quiet, but he earned the respect right off the hop. Basically, how hard he competes in practice, how he handles himself off the ice. He's a 4.0 student in accounting, does everything on a day-to-day the right way. And that's why we took probably a good 5 or 6 weeks to name our captains. And it give us an indication of what the young guys looked upon, what were important to our program. And it was almost unanimous in terms of how we selected the captains through the players' votes and what the captains wanted. So happy we were able to bring those 2 with us that add experience, but also, more importantly, great leadership skills.
Slippick and Albrechter were your goal scoring a lot of last year. Those guys now going into year 2, do you expect them, are they going to be on the ice together a lot again? And what sort of growth do you want to see out of those 2 guys?
Well, those 2, obviously, we had nothing but opportunity last year. Our skill base was not where we needed to be, but those were our 2 most skilled guys last year, evident because they tied, not too many freshmen in the country lead their team in scoring. So we were able to put them in situations where they played a lot of minutes, almost too much. But we did that to help prepare them for this year. Hopefully, playing in all those situations, it really grew their growth and development probably quicker than other places because we had to play them. And some nights they played way too much, but we had to play them to give us the best chance of winning some hockey games. And they earned it. They played well. And if you look at their second half, they really, really, really took off in the second half to be, I think, bona fide players in the CCHA. Now, will they be watched upon a little bit more closer this year? Maybe. But I think we've surrounded them with other pieces that can limit the amount of minutes that we used for them last year.
Thought on the preseason poll, not that I'm worried about where they rank you, because it's kind of understandable to a point, but anything jump out at you from other teams?
No, I think you always look at, the amount of offense teams have coming back, the amount of returning players, the number of key players that are coming back. And most coaches in media will sway that way. And it's offense and talent related. And for example, you got Michigan Tech that they weren't going to get Gordon or Sardarian, and they got him back. So those are 2 of the best players. So automatically, that's going to increase how people vote in the polls. And St. Thomas has got a lot of their key players back. Augustana, I think, has got a lot of key pieces back. And I'm missing one. You guys need to help me. Oh, obviously, Mankato. They've got some key pieces back. And I think if you look at the players coming back, they've got the goaltender coming back, who's one of the best goalies in the nation. So a lot of the votes sway that way in terms of how those votes play out.
Okay, week off, never know, first of all, why was everybody off last week?
Well, yeah, it's tough to schedule games when you get to the 5th week of the season really, right? You're already into conference play, so a lot of other schools are not able to schedule really outside their schedule. Their conference is locked schedule, and so it's a good time for the GLIAC to be able to take a bye. And so, if you can find something in that week, it'd be great. But I think it's perfect time in terms of you're not going to find many guys that are able to get out of their conference contracts.
I realize that, but it's like, well, not everybody's gonna play East Half Tech or Northern play or Grand Valley and Bears.
Yeah.
One or two of the
Yeah.
rivalries to kind of give them a semi-showcase.
I think the GLIAC wants a 7-week straight schedule. I mean, I think what we did with Davenport is a little bit of an anomaly, and so everything will start up this week again and kind of get really ramped up in GLIAC play.
So what have you learned in your off week?
Yeah, well, good detailed work that we did. I think we went back to some basics and just found that guys were actually really hungry to get some details right, and just went back to some simple things of blocking, tackling, footwork, hand placement, eye discipline, just a lot of good stuff that you maybe didn't get. You kind of lost from week one when you first started camp, and you go back to the film, you kind of do a self scout on yourself and realize like, hey, there's some plays here and there's some things here that are affected by maybe some fundamentals and not just schematically. And so, to be able to kind of fix some of that stuff fundamentally, I think was really good for us.
Any thoughts of lineup changes?
Not entirely, but there are some guys that have probably gotten banged around a little bit that we got to continue to evaluate this week.
Like quarterback, do you expect to start Austin Riddle this Saturday?
Yes, I would expect to start Austin, and I think right now, he's obviously got some good reps underneath his belt, and I think he will be very sufficient in terms of what we ask him to do, and I think we've got a good competition there to where I don't think he'll have to shoulder the whole entire load, but I think he'll be a very competitive guy to be in this role and to be able to just kind of do what we ask him to do here.
How does that change your offensive plan, given that Duke was mainly the guy throwing the ball when he was at
Sure.
under center?
Yeah. No, I think, we're going to ask Austin to do what he can do and not put him in poor situations that are just going to get him into trouble or, not be able to be well executed. And so, we're going to try to make sure that we have a good plan around him. And then, I think Trevor is going to be a very good alternative to what we're doing. And, he can throw it well. He can make a lot of good throws. His deal right now is, just getting those reps underneath his belt, feeling comfortable and being able to just do everything that we want him to do. And I think, again, you just got to be strategic in what you put those guys in terms of, kind of how you play them, what they're going to be good at, what they're comfortable with, and make sure that you got a good plan for both of them.
Thought about Saginaw?
Yeah, they're going to be competitive. I think they were in some close games here early on that they probably, had thought that they were, had a chance to win and probably wished that they would have won. And I think they're going to be really hungry and they'll be ready for us. It's going to be their homecoming, and so it'll be a really good environment. I really like playing there. I think it's got a great venue, and I think they always have a crowd that shows up well. And I think it'll be a good opportunity on Saturday for us to go down there and show what we can do on the road in the GLIAC and be able to put a full 4 quarters together. They're going to be big and athletic. Their quarterback is really good. I think he's really dangerous with the ball in his hands, and he can kind of beat you both ways. In the passing game, and he'll definitely take off and run and do some things to hurt you that way too. So we've got to be ready. We certainly we got to make sure that we come off the bye with just a good hunger and a great anticipation to go out there and play with great energy.
Will it mostly be Riddle taking the brunt of the work on the offense for a quarterback, or are you going to try to see something between him and Turkoff?
Yeah, I think it's a battle right now during the week. I think there's definitely skill sets with both that are going to be really good and be able to be used. And so, I think a little bit of it is, we're going into Tuesday's practice today. We got to get a feel for just kind of where both of them are at. And, I think by Saturday we'll have a good idea, but I anticipate that both of them will play, and we'll just kind of see, what the game looks like and, just kind of who's doing what better and, kind of how that fits into what's going on, what we see in terms of how Saginaw's lining up and how they're playing us. And I think there's a lot of variables still that, you got to continue to weed through. But I do know that both of them will be used, and, they both have good skill sets that will be valuable to us.
Shane, you always hear You want to win the turnover battle, yeah, and you want to limit explosive plays.
Mhm.
For your defense, they've done a lot of good things through
Yeah.
4 weeks, but maybe that explosive play thing has hurt them at times. and
Yeah.
Taking you guys out of games. How do you practice that and
Yeah.
address that and keeping everything in front of you?
For sure. No, you said both things right there. Like the turnover battle, I think we can be better defensively in that as well. And we've got to continue to look for ways to put pressure on the ball and be able to, have great ball awareness and great disruption on the ball is what we've got to do better at. And then, when we go back and look at all of our big plays that we've given up defensively, it's really, it's not anything schematically that we haven't seen before. It's not that we have just some bad call on or putting guys in a bad position. It's really just kind of a detail that maybe a guy is just looking at the wrong thing. Maybe he's in the wrong gap. Maybe a guy didn't take on a block as well as he should have. So it's a lot of technique work. And, really the thought is that, defense, you have to be like engineers, right? You have to prepare for the bridge to cave in, and you have to make sure that you've got everything planned for and well thought out so that you can cover every formation, every play, every fit, every opportunity that they have to throw the ball, every route combination. And you got to have a plan for how you're going to cover all that stuff. And so we just got to be more sound with everybody that's out there on the field. I think guys have to just continue to realize how important their 1/11th is throughout the whole entirety of the 4 quarters. You never know when 3 or 4 of those plays are going to bite you. And so you got to be able to play very soundly first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter.
What did that Friday win do for the whole group?
Oh, I mean, that was awesome. It felt like we were building up to that moment for 3 weeks straight, and just finally being able to get over the hump and take it was just the best. It helped that it was an undefeated team, like extra motivation, first game of the Vandament. We were just so thrilled to be home and wanted to put on a show, and I think we certainly did.
And you guys had to come back too. So what was it like in the 4th and 5th set? Just seeing the belief come together on the court.
Yeah, so I mean, testament to it. First set was good. Like we started strong. Our defense and blocking was on, and we weren't making as big a run of errors as we were in previous weeks. And then obviously the second and third set, we kind of took a step backwards. But honestly, I'm really, really proud of them for their resilience and their ability to get through that moment. I think that is what we needed, because it was the reason that we were struggling in the first place, was just being able to overcome a little bit of adversity. So seeing them work their way through it mentally and physically was awesome.
And then not having any sort of letdown on Saturday.
Yeah.
Against the Roosevelt team that struggled since they've come into the conference and on your own court. And you guys kind of take care of business. What did you see on Saturday that was also encouraging?
Yeah, I mean, our game, and I think I've talked about this before, like after 20 has been something we've struggled with. Like we can get a big lead, and then we weren't just able to capitalize on it in previous weeks. And I think the Roosevelt match showed, okay, this is a team that we should be better than, that we can beat, and can we make sure that down the stretch we're just taking care of business. And I think, they obviously put up a bit of a fight because 2 of those 3 sets went into extended numbers, but I think they just did a good job taking care of business.
Anybody kind of go above what you had seen
Yeah.
at this point?
I mean, Emmy Gulak, I think, had her breakthrough weekend this past week. She's our middle who, she redshirted her freshman year, didn't see the floor at all last year. So she's been kind of sitting on the bench for 2 years waiting for her moment. And I think we've really seen her rise to the occasion in her blocking and her offensive game. So I've just been really impressed with her taking that moment and running with it. I'd also say, like, Kenzie Gruner, she's been a steady presence, but she also had an awesome weekend. And then Remy Madison, another kid who's been on and off the floor in her 3 years here, and she really stepped up in that back row and made some insane defensive plays. Like, couldn't have been more proud of her.
I think we were putting highlights on TV. We always just want to focus on the last touch, the kill, right? But those first 2 touches are so important. And
Yeah.
Those are talking about that with us, that serve, receive, pass just wasn't quite there when you guys were going through the losing streak. How did you see that improve this weekend?
Yeah, I think that still is an area of our game we need to improve on going forward. But I did see us getting our way out of those ruts faster. Like, I think before we were letting teams get like 5-point runs on us, and this weekend I think we kept it to like 3, sometimes a little bit more than that, but it happened less often. So serve receive is just such a mentality, and it's getting them to understand, like, okay, I can get ace this one ball, but it doesn't mean I'm going to change like my technique and what I'm doing. Like, I'm still going to trust my training and then just get it done the next ball. So I think we're making strides in that area.
Going into this weekend, what do you guys, I mean, you're going back on the road again.
Yeah.
What have you been doing so far this week and coming off the big wins over Roosevelt Parkside to get ready for Saginaw and Lake State?
Yeah, so something we kind of noticed as a staff was in practice, we would do a lot of like individual training segments, like by position and stuff like that. And we saw a lot of carryover in them doing the right things the right way in those settings, but it obviously wasn't translating to when we were like 6 on the floor. So we've kind of talked more about playing more in practice just so they have a stronger bond with each other and understand how to work through adversity at all 6 of them together, not necessarily just a skill, because we know they can do the skill. It's getting them to translate it onto the floor. So that's been a major focus. Like, practice yesterday was pretty intense for a Monday, but we just wanted them to compete and do that on a Monday right away. And I think going forward, we're a battle-tested team in the sense that we had a tough preseason. We were on the road for 3 weeks straight. We're about to do another 3 weeks on the road. And just understanding that we can prove we can do it. We did it this weekend. How do we take that success and repeat it after getting off the bus? So I think this weekend, feel really good about it, and I'm excited to see what happens.
It was part of the going into that Monday practice. You said it wasn't as intense as any other Monday practice would be.
Yeah.
Was part of that kind of riding that high of this past weekend with the wins over the 2 teams?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, we focused last week on like one net practices, doing a lot more team stuff, and saw success from it. So we were like, okay, let's ride this and keep it going and see if it really takes us that next step that we need. For sure.
Get 2 more.
Yeah, that's the thought. We're just climbing the ladder. Yeah.
Pretty evenly split weekend between 2 pretty good teams, Grand Valley and Davenport. What did you learn going from Friday's game into Sunday's game, and how is it all kind of pieced together this week as we get ready for Ferris and Saginaw?
Yeah, I think resilience is a real thing, and sometimes you don't get to show that until you're tested, and Grand Valley tested us. I thought we were really good for the first 20 minutes of that game, and then once that first goal went in, we deflated a little bit. When you lose 4-0, I think, you can go one of 2 directions. You can pout and be bummed and let that start a chain of events that gets worse and worse. It can snowball. Or you can step up and do something about it. And I think our girls, came back to Saturday's practice focused and ready to go. And I think, the game plan for Davenport was carried out really well. And I said this after the game, the girls established dominance right away on Sunday, which is a feel that we haven't had very much this year. Like, we've never gone up in a game first. We're always chasing the game. So it was nice to go out and get that first goal right away. And then they took off from there. And so I think, again, this all goes back to our consistency. We've seen really good moments and really, pretty good games. And we've seen some really poor moments and games where we don't play as well. And we have to find a way to close that gap. And so, I'm actually, if this chain of events is going to happen, I'm glad it happened the way it did, coming off of a good result on Sunday. And now we're preparing this week to hopefully build on that momentum coming into the upcoming weekend.
A pretty physical game against Davenport on Sunday, I might add. Are you kind of expecting that out of Ferris and Saginaw going into this weekend as well?
Yeah, I think it's a really physical conference in general. A lot of strong girls, a lot of athletic girls, and so I think physicality is a part of our game. I think we knew what Davenport was coming in. I think they've out-fouled every team that they've played. We knew they were going to be physical. The girls had the right mentality to deal with it. Move the ball, don't get caught on it. But if you're going to tackle, you got to tackle hard, and that's the message for every game. I think Ferris is going to be a good side, and we're going to have to play well again. We're going to have to match the physicality. We're going to have to play a really good soccer game, be organized defensively if we want to have success against them. Davenport, yes, they might be a little bit more physical, if that's the right word for it, than most teams. But again, I thought our team dealt with it pretty well.
Back to Friday with Grand Valley, it was really a battle for the first 30 minutes, and it kind of spiraled away from you guys. Just what were the takeaways from that for in the future when you guys get down 1-2, that it doesn't turn into 3-4?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of maybe inexperience. I think a lot of heads went down, and again, you could see our team visibly deflate. And again, I think had the first 20 minutes not happened, you'd go, yeah, they were better than us from the first minute. I think the hard part for us is we know we can play. It's just how long can we stick it out with Green Valley? And so again, most games when we've gone down a goal, there's been an instantaneous response. Our instantaneous response this game was really poor. I think they scored 3 goals in 8 minutes, and that's something that we have to collectively figure out a way to not allow to happen. And when you go down a goal to Grand Valley, that's a hard thing. They're a very good team. When you go down 2 or 3 goals, you're basically closing the door on yourself. And so for us, it's just we've got to find a way when we concede to a good team to not allow it to happen again and give ourselves a foothold to try and get back in the game. And I think that was the hard part. You walk into halftime down 3 goals against Grand Valley. How do you get back in the game? And are there ways? Sure, but you put yourself in an extreme disadvantage when you play a really good first 20 to 30 minutes, and then in the last 15 minutes of the half you concede 3. So again, all part of the learning and a little bit of inexperience. And honestly, we look at the goals we gave up, right? All set piece goals, all 4 set piece goals. To me, those are fixable things. Those are things that we can tweak and get better at. And so I think that's the optimistic thing, is those are areas we know we can improve. We didn't get broken down. We got outshot pretty handily. We got out-cornered pretty handily, but we didn't give away a ton of balls in behind or a ton of just 1v1s with our goalkeeper. The things that we did give away, we can fix, we can work on.
All right, I'll start with the same question I asked Coach Egolf. Split the weekend. What'd you learn from Friday going into Sunday's game?
Yeah, I don't think there was much to learn, to be fair. I mean, they're two completely different games. Friday was a very direct game. We got the early goal, which is fantastic on the road, and guys really hung in there. I don't think we played fantastic, but a typical road GLIAC game, and we toughed it out and got the result, which was fantastic. Guys put in a really good defensive shift. So there wasn't much to necessarily learn. It's just part of the road. You got to do what you can. So it was a good result. And then it brought us to Sunday, which was obviously a fantastic performance. Both teams. It was just a good quality game. And when you're in a good game like that, you can't blink. We blinked. They scored a worldie, and you lose 1-0 on the road against defending champs. Like that's how it goes. But it was a great performance. Guys were tough. I mean, there's nine of the starters played 90 minutes. Again, another hot game on turf after a Friday performance. So I got no issues with how my team played in any way, shape, or form. They were fantastic. It was just a moment of brilliance from the defending champs, and that was the difference in the game. I think we're still talking about the same things, which is closing out halves. That's where we're getting conceded on, and scoring our chances. Because we had multiple chances to go up 1-0 before they scored theirs. I mean, that was their second shot of the half, Roosevelt. So. Yeah, it was you always take a split on the road, but knowing my players and what we want to achieve, it's not good enough. So we'll just get back at it and get after it this week and get ready for St. Cloud. So
nice to have just one team to prepare for this weekend.
Yeah.
I know it's a long road trip. Just how does that change your week?
Yeah, it changes it big time because we can give the guys the extra day of rest today. We're going to leave Friday after training, so that way we can get there. We can actually have a training session at St. Cloud. So it does change it a bit. It's a bit of an advantage for us to just kind of go through the full week of recovery and then game plan for the one game. And their place is difficult to play, so having an opportunity to train fully there is important to us. So yeah, I think it does change some things, and so we're going to take advantage of it.
What is the game plan for St. Cloud? What challenges do they present?
They definitely present some challenges. They're a good defensive team. They sit in a low block. It's hard to break them down. They were 0-0 with Saginaw at halftime because it's just they're frustrating to score on. They have a great goalkeeper, experienced team, good coached, well coached. So it's going to be another tough GLIAC road game. And now because we dropped a home game. So we've got to get a road win to sort of balance that out. And so it's another tough one, But they play Friday night. We'll get another peek at what they do, and hopefully we've got a good energy on Sunday to go and get a result. So.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Anything else? Got to come with more questions than that.
I'm trying to think.
Well, you answered the question I was thinking about, but I was trying to ask it anyway. No,
Sure.
there's no such thing as a moral victory for you.
Not anymore. Yeah, we're not at that stage anymore. These guys want results. Moral victories were good the first couple of years when we were trying to dig this thing out. But we know we can play. I think everybody knows we can play. The conference knows we can play. The region does. So when you're in a game and it's a good game between two good teams, it takes a moment of brilliance from another team, and that was a difference on Sunday. Moment of brilliance, guys. Top 5 play in ESPN Sports Center, D2 soccer goal. So on a Sunday, right, through NFL Sunday. So it tells you how good the goal was. They had a moment. We have yet to find an individual moment. We play great as a team, and guys have been fantastic defending and connecting passes and pushing in every single game. But at some point, you know, you look at championship teams, there's always a guy or two that can find a moment that separates those close games, especially in the road, especially against good teams. So if we want to knock off a team like Roosevelt or Saginaw, the defending champions, we're going to need guys to step up. And that's the reality. It's not an issue of whether, hey, we're struggling and guys aren't motivated or they're not hungry. That's not it at all. It's all relative to where you want to go, right? And where we want to go is pretty high. So we need guys to have individual performances that separate us. And you know, that kid who scored the goal is going to have a memory the rest of his life. A special moment from that kid happened against us. So when is it going to happen for us? I think that's going to be the difference in us achieving our goals or not. So.
That kind of leaves a sour taste in some of the guys' mouths, seeing that was a top play, and just kind of use it as motivation going into the.
They don't need any more motivation.
No.
No, they don't need any more motivation. I haven't seen them since they know. I mean, everybody knows. So maybe it does. Maybe you should ask them. I'm not certainly going to talk about it, but they're motivated. It's not an issue of motivation anymore. I'm not worried about going to training or going to the games, but are these guys up for it today? I don't even talk about that stuff anymore. For me, it's all soccer and tactics. It's a player-led, captain-led program, and they sort that stuff out. So I don't think they need any more motivation than they already have based on what we've been through. And I know they'll perform on Sunday. I know they will.
Well, we have a big home meet this weekend. We have 3 teams coming in, which we haven't had that many teams at a home event in a really long time, I think ever since I've been here. So Davenport University is coming, St. Cloud State is coming, and Lake State's coming, and it's their second year of having a team. So it'll be really great. It's going to be a lot of action in the pool. We have 2 sessions on Friday, so a 10 a.m. session and a 4:30 session on Friday, and then 10 a.m. on Saturday. St. Cloud and Davenport are very good. St. Cloud men are in our conference. Their women are in the Northern Sun. And it's always a battle with them. And I'm really excited and looking forward to some good racing. They had really good sprinters last year. And we have good sprinters. So that's fun. Davenport has great stroke events. And I think they'll give us a good push and a run for our money. So I'm really excited to see how we step up,
Green and gold.
Yeah.
Couple weeks ago. What did you find out?
Oh man.
About your squad?
Yeah.
Probably when they get in the pool together and there's actual races going on, you probably find out a lot. What were some of your?
Yeah. So it's really fun to see. We have 12 new women on the team, and it was really fun to see where they were all going to line up and compete and how they race. And I was really happy to see that, definitely supporting each other and pushing each other to be good. So that was exciting. We had some great swims by the men. We have 5 incoming men. We have our incoming divers look really good. I know Chris is excited. We had one of our incoming guy broke a couple pool records, and Leo broke a pool record, and Will broke a pool record, a couple of our senior returners. So there's good stuff to come. They're all doing the right thing, so I'm pretty excited. Yeah.
What's the excitement about you mentioned just having 2 other teams in your pool for a home meet? Just what is that going to be like for you?
It's always fun for them to race, and for us to race in our home pool, and that's a big deal. And having that excitement and like hometown crowd, a lot of parents are coming, and that'll be cool. I think they have pride in being at our pool. And, how it is, it's harder to swim on the road. Everybody feels it from the long bus ride. So it's kind of nice where they get to sleep in their own bed and aren't sitting on the bus, and they're ready to go.
Okay, as the saying goes, Maddie screwed up again. No, obviously, she is back to 100%. I would take it by now. The first
Yeah.
time wasn't, you didn't need to validate it, but it's nice that she did.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and you know, we decided that she would really kind of test it this time. So go out with that lead pack and see, you know, because it's a chance to really see how far she could go. And she ran well because that was some top athletes from across the country. So, you know, I think she'll just keep moving up. So she's definitely back 100% fit, ready to go.
And the team is not only supporting her, but doing well as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, really exciting. I mean, we beat some top ranked teams and 5 ranked teams, and yeah, and our one freshman Ashley. Also, we tested her a little bit more this time to see if how close she could get to Maddie, and she was again close. And then that whole group behind, you know, a few of them felt like they didn't have their best races, but that's the nice thing about the depth that we have is some didn't have as good a race, but the other ones had good races, and we had enough to finish as high as we did.
Okay, what's next?
We're actually heading off this weekend, but next Wednesday we head to North Carolina for a meet and we're going to go against a couple of the top teams in the Southeast region. So Wingate, who's ranked 5th in the country, and Catawba, who's ranked 28th in the country. So it's a 5K, so it'll be a shorter and it's a fast course. Kind of an opportunity. This is part of that Schultz fund that we got to go somewhere. Yeah. So it'll be a good experience for the kids to go. Actually, Ashley, the freshman's never been on a plane. So
Get to go through those things.
yeah, so it'll be a fun experience in a different area of the country and, you know, go against, and there's going to be like 23, 27 teams there. So a big race again, and a chance to really get some fast times too. So going into then the championship season, really having that confidence about how fast they can run.
Okay, of course you haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Have you seen it on video at least yet, or no?
Yeah, on video and some pictures, and it is like it's part of it's crushed gravel, so it's going to be, which is I know, which is interesting. It's at a park, so it's grass and some, you know, so it's going to be really fast footing. Apparently, the times are, from what I've seen, are really fast on the course. So we will get a chance. We'll get there late Wednesday night, and then we'll be able to run the course on Thursday, check it out, and then race. Friday is not till later in the day, so 5 o'clock for the race, and then come back Saturday.
Stay overnight a couple nights.
Yeah.
Flat?
Yeah, fairly flat.
Fairly flat.
Yeah.
Does that change a lot in terms of when you're gonna tell them to put the pedal down?
It does, and they have to actually, earlier, and they have to, and that's the thing, is being able to go faster really for the entire course, because with very few hills, they kind of can push it, harder earlier. So that'll be, but good test and good, you know, to realize they have that kind of speed. So then when we get on a course that's got some hills, some flats, they really will be able to keep that foot speed going up over the hills.
Pronounce Ashley's last name?
Chopanis.
Potts, okay.
Yeah.
So long, short call, okay. No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
No, good.
Thank you.